I will show you the easiest way to solve this SAT question. To start, we are given a circle with a center G, and points M and N lie on this circle. So we have a center and 2 points on the circle. Line segments MH and NH are tangent to the circle at points M and N. So these two are tangent. And these actually do not look tangent in this little sketch that I've drawn. They should be just touching at one point. They look a little off, but that's fine. That's how your sketches are going to be on the real SAT. They're not going to look perfectly tangent. So you just have to remember the properties and know what's going on. If the radius of the circle is 168 millimeters and the perimeter of the quadrilateral GMHN, so here's our quadrilateral, we've just drawn it out, is 3,856. So that's our perimeter, designated P. What is the distance in millimeters between points G and H? So let's go ahead and just draw a line between G and H because that's the distance that we're trying to find. So as you see, that'll give us sort of two triangles. So we've got this triangle and this triangle. And one thing you have to remember about this is a pattern sometimes seen on the SAT, where if you have two tangent lines, this bottom just shows the notes and the if you have two tangent lines right here, these will form right angles, and these two will be congruent. So again, these two lines will be congruent, the same length, and these will be right angles right here, just like this. So they give you this, but sometimes your drawing will look like this and it'll be rotated, but you just have to know what's going on. So now we've got a right triangle, and we know we have a lot of things that we can do with right triangles. So also, if we have this radius of 168, these two GM and GN are also radii. So that means their length is also 168, 168, 168. So we're sort of trying to fill it out. And remember, we're trying to find this GH length. So maybe if we find this side, we'll be able to use the Pythagorean theorem to do this. So let's denote these x and x. Remember, they're the exact same as we found. And now we can set up an equation. So we know that the perimeter of this entire thing, so this side length plus this side length plus this is equal to 3,856. That's the entire perimeter. So let's just set up the equation. We have 168 plus 168 plus x is equal to 3,856. So let's combine the like terms and subtract 336 and then divide by 2 to get x equals 1760. Now, would you put this as your final answer? You should have said no, because this is not our final answer. You would get this wrong, and that actually is one of the answer choices, but that's completely incorrect because it's not asking for x or even this side length. It's asking from what is the distance in millimeters between points G and H. So this line right here. So now we know x is 1760. So what did I say earlier? We can use the Pythagorean theorem to solve this because we know these two sides and we know this side and we know this is a right angle. So we're trying to find that one. So let's set this up. A squared plus b squared equals c squared. We have a and a squared plus x squared, as we denoted earlier, equals c squared. So we know that x is 1760, so we can just plug that in. A squared, b squared, c squared. Great. Now, a lot of people would square this, and do this. But I would never do that on the SAT. I would head straight over to Desmos and solve this. So let's take a look at this. We have 168 squared plus 1760 squared is equal to c squared. So we just put that exact in, but that's not going to work because it's not in regression format. Now, if you heard the word regression, it's not that big of a deal. All it means is that we're going to take this equal sign and turn it into a tilde. And that is just going to, just like that, we have to do null multiplication. We could even leave these terms unsimplified, and it's going to give us our final answer of c equals 1768. So let's go back to the first slide. And 1768, the answer is D. And you remember they gave us this trick answer of 1760. which we should not do. And we should always reread that last sentence of the question before we answer. So if we just quickly skim the last sentence, what is the distance? Yep, and we'd know we'd get the right answer.